Nowadays, we either live in homes or flats or cabinets, which can get super boring. Thankfully, there are enough creative architects in the world that give us weird houses, such as the mushroom house, or even a house that's literally upside down. And how can we forget about the snail house that has all sorts of colors breaking in through the windows? Here are 12 ridiculous home designs you must see at once. Number 12. Heliodome House. If France did not already attract literally every traveler in the world, this certainly is going to. Based on the shape of a sundial, the Heliodome House is a house built by Eric Wasser. This woodworker wanted to make an even more eco-friendly house than his old wood cabinet. That's when he decided to build the sundial-inspired house, which is fixed at an angle. But this angle is tilted perfectly so that there's a good shade during the summer to keep the house cool and the heat bearable. And during winter times, the sun will rise at the right place so that the house receives enough sunlight. Living in an eco-friendly spacecraft? Yes, please. Number 11. Dick Clark's Flintstones home. You don't have to imagine what it felt like to live with the Flintstones anymore. That's because this house exists. The Malibu Romantic Flintstones retreat house is owned by the radio legend Dick Clark. And right now, the house is about 23 acres with a complete 360 video of mountains, seas, and cityscapes. But that's not what's interesting. The interesting part is the interior. It's all made of weirdly shaped colored stones. Everything from the kitchen's drawer to the bedroom lighting give off a very Stone Age vibe. People might not have bathtubs in the Stone Age, but the one in this house is set in the perfect spot that it truly makes you feel like you're on vacation. Number 10. Stone House. The Stone House, or the Casa de Pinedo, is less of a house and more of a fancy cave. It's a cozy and safe place tucked in the Faf Mountains in Portugal. These two giant stones are linked with a simple concrete mix, but it looks like a house right out of a cartoon. And although it might look prehistoric, it has a lot of modern facilities. If you're planning on spending a few days away from people, then don't just start packing yet. This house has now become a small museum of relics and photographs of the house history, but it still has an incredible amount of tourists. Number 9. Giant Seashell House. Where do you think Gary the Snail would live? In the giant Seashell House, of course. This house was built in about 2006 by the architect Javier Senoisian. The spiral stairs, the plants, and the whole design is so unusually aquatic that it seems trippy. The best and most interesting part is the huge wall that's cut into a whole array of colorful stained glass. From the inside, these multicolored spots bring a colorful light ring onto the walls. Better yet, this house was too precious to let it be ruined by an earthquake. That's why the creator used a ferro cement construction that makes it earthquake-proof and maintenance-free. Number 8. Boeing 727-200 House. If you want to live in a place that's secluded from the general public, then this Boeing house in the middle of the woods in Portland is going to be the perfect resort. The owner of the house had lived in this house for 6 months since he purchased it in 1999 for a mere $100,000. Unlike other recycled houses, this one has all the families from electricity to air conditioning. In fact, the owner, Bruce Campbell, is part of a group called the Aircraft Fleet Recycling Association, AFRA. This association believes in making something so perfectly engineered into a permanent house. And it makes sense when Campbell explains it. Planes are incredibly strong, long-lived, and can withstand any earthquake. Moreover, their interiors are full of sealed pressure canisters, so dust and insects can't get in. And if you're planning to live in the forest, that's a huge selling point. Number 7. The Winchester Mystery House. What would you do if you were given the wealth of a millionaire one day? Well, this eccentric woman named Sarah Winchester decided to build a never-ending house. She purchased an 8-room farmhouse whose construction would go on for 36 years. This might just look like a huge luxury mansion, but it has over 10,000 windows, 160 rooms, and not all of them lead places. Out of the 2,000 doors this house has, one leads to an 8-foot drop to a kitchen sink, and another one leads to a 15 drop into bushes in the garden. Some staircases lead to ceilings, and one bathroom even has a full-size window. Needless to say, Sarah Winchester had a weird vision for this house. Number 6. Star Trek Voyage House. Superfans can go unprecedented limits. And this one Star Trek Superman. Tony Allen decided to build the whole interior of the Star Trek Voyager ship in real life. It has a complete array of LED lights, an uncontrollable amount of audio and video effects to make you feel like you're actually a part of the series. It was put on the market for about $100,000, just enough for a die-hard fan to buy it. Number 5. Upside Down House. Topsy-Turvy Town hasn't become a reality as of yet, but this house can give you a taste of what it would be like. The Upside Down House is literally what its name says. This home is literally an upside-down house that was built back in 2008. It was built by Polish architects Klaudius Golos and Sebastian Mukiuk as a tourist attraction in a German town where everything was quite boring. Even the furniture inside is all upside down and might make you a little dizzy. Number 4. Crazy House. When you've worked all over the world like the 79-year-old architect Deng Viet Na decided to make a house that would let her unleash her creativity like a beast. Making houses for the government apparently isn't as amusing as people thought, but she didn't draw blueprints for the house, she created a series of paintings. The actual Crazy House has all sorts of natural elements such as mushrooms, shells, saves, and even spiderwebs that make the house ever-changing. She used cement the most since it was the most moldable and created something that would bring people closer to nature. Number 3. Spherical Treehouses. Most houses are built with flat sides, since that's what physics allows. But this spherical treehouse defies more than just physics. Among tall trees with qualicum, these houses are meant to give you a spiritual retreat, so you can experience a little bit of self-growth too. Moreover, every season will bring about a new experience. That's not all. The fact that they don't touch the ground makes the house even more interesting to live in. Practically, they're like a hammock that everyone wants in on. Number 2. The Mushroom House. If you've been a fan of fairy tales or woodland creatures, then this might just be what you want to live in. This contemporary residence is in New York. Each pod or cap is windowed and separate. One of them is the living and dining area, and the others are the kitchen and sleeping areas. In total, it has 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms in about 4,168 square feet. The house sold for about $800,000 since the original price of $1.1 million didn't really do it for the buyer. Which is kind of funny since people would pay anything for such a whimsical house. Number 1. Krzywy Domek. Krzywy Domek, or the Crooked House, is literally what it says. It's a house that looks like it's being seen from a sort of distorted fish lens. In fact, it looks like a picture someone pulled apart from a pop shop. But it's just a part of the Risden shopping center and was built in 2004. Thanks to the designers, Zotinsky and Zaleski, who took their inspiration from the fairy tale drawings of both Jan Marcin Stanzer and Per Dahlberg. Polish people often joke about that if you've been out partying and see this house, it's about time you go home. Alright, comment below which of these homes you'd like to spend the night in. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to TechJoint, and we'll see you in the next one.